SJ, welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar.
Principal Chief David Hill, please come to the stage. Welcome, Principal Chief David Hill. Thank you.
Well, he's lucky I don't have my gold pin on. That's the white one. But you know, Jason, I couldn't have said it any better. One thing he said about the McGirt. Now, the sky's not falling. It's on the opportunity of what we can do. So this is our time. Just the beginning. Again, I want to thank the National Council. There's some here and some upstairs, and Fed Getter. You always been a supporter, and I appreciate that. As Jason mentioned, there's some probably some Cherokee representative and Osage. Thank you all.
And one thing that's beautiful about this film is I had an opportunity to kind of like shout out and honor all those films that my dad and I grew up knowing. Like in the pilot, you're going to see a shout out to Platoon for sure, you know. And that is like, me and my dad were watching Platoon when I was a child. I knew it by heart. Like I was the only kid at the age of like 9 that knew Platoon by heart. You know, I can tell you every line. So, you know, it's just like a beautiful experience. I'm so happy that like I was able to tell this story. You know, I've done that. You guys all know me. Like I've done this forever, you know, and I never had a budget to do it, you know, and all of a sudden FX steps up and they gave me the budget and the opportunity to tell this story. And then I found these actors and, you know, it would be one thing just to hire native actors, but like they all took it so serious and like, took it as a responsibility to represent Mvskoke and Seminole people in this show. You know, it wasn't enough just to be native actors. They also learned about the history and knew how we ended up here, because we ended up here through acts of genocide, and we survived. And we're here, and we have this beautiful place right now, and we're on the Mvskoke Reservation. And that's because our ancestors fought for us to be here. They fought for us to be here, and it's no easy thing that they did. They brought us here, and we're able to exist because of them. And, you know, I think as a child, I knew that. You know, I was born into this world where I knew, you know, my great-grandma, Izora Bruner. I remember her talking about the Trail of Tears and how she, like her grandma would talk about babies that were killed on the Trail of Tears because they wouldn't stop crying. And that's not fake, that's real. Like we all came from that. Like we're all here because our people fought and they survived for us to be here. And we were born in a state of rebellion. We were born in a way that like we fought to be here. And I will never forget that the reason that I'm here is because people fought for me to be here. I have a TV show and that's insane. But I wouldn't be alive without the people that fought for me to be here, and I appreciate that. I appreciate all of that. You want to say something, or you just y'all want to talk, or say hi real quick, just real high. Just you gotta lift them up.
I just want to say that it makes sense that the first big Aboriginal show is a comedy. We're going to grab the industry by the vocals. We're going to grab the industry by the vocals.
Hi, my name is Paulina Alexis. I'm from Alexis Nakota Sioux Nation. Shout out to my home, Shady Six Nation. This show is for you guys. I can't wait to show the world.
Chief Hill, all of y'all from Mvskoke Nation, thank y'all so much for having us here. What a beautiful thing, and also the scholarship is like insanely killer, because like I just want to I want to inspire people to do what we do because it is a viable job. I didn't know that when I was a child, but they can do it. All of these people can work in this industry, and it's viable. And I thank y'all so much for having us here. Mado. And thank you, Jason.
My name is Natalie Standing Cloud, and I'm playing the receptionist at the optometry clinic.
All right, now this is part of a trend of productions that have highlighted more contemporary Native American people, lives, and situations. First of all, how do you feel about being part of something like this?
It's a dream come true for me. To put together any kind of TV show, theater, play, or movie takes a team of really incredible people who are dedicated to telling a story. And a story like this is something that's been needing to be told for a long time coming now. And so to be a part of it, it really is just a dream come true, and I'm excited to just be in it and help tell the story.
So how do you interact with the other cast members in that storyline?
In my part, I interact with the character named Cheese, and he's coming in to get glasses. And being an IHS worker, I think that my character's been there for some time now, and her patience has run a little thin, but she has some fun with him.
In the process of making this production happen, what was it like working with the other people, the non-native cast technicians and things, the directors and things like that? How did that go for you? Was the atmosphere relaxed and genial, or was it kind of tough, hard, go kind of thing?
I felt like I was having fun with friends that I've known for a really long time. And I have been friends with Sterling for quite a while now, but the environment and the vibes and the feeling being on camera and on set was just very natural and very easygoing, and everybody got along. It was like family.
Mm-hmm. Now, there have been other movies that have highlighted Native people, Smoke Signals and Powwow Highway, and then some others that are told a more somber part of Native America. How did you feel about the way the story was going? I mean, how did it make you feel to see it happen?
There are some parts in the TV show that might be somber, but the overall vibe of it is very lighthearted, and there's so much humor. And that's the good thing about Native people is that we treat laughter as medicine, and it's something that we need. It's part of our character and our life and our culture. So for us to have the moment to share this with the world is everything to me.
In the process of doing that, were you pretty much free to interpret the character as you felt, or did you have some pretty stiff direction?
Going in, I'm a rule follower, so I try to stick with the rules and try to stick with the lines as best I can until I got onto camera and got on set, and they told me to loosen up, to have fun with it, and make it as natural as I can be. So I had some room to ad-lib if I thought of something that I thought would work at the time.
Did you get to do much of that?
Just a little bit, yeah. I think it wasn't until after when I was driving home that I thought, I could have said this or I could have said that. But I've had some friends who have seen it already, and they laughed. So I knew if it got to them, then it's going to be good enough.
As the industry progresses, do you see any signs of it getting more and more accurate and authentic and realistic in portrayal of our people, both contemporary and historical?
Definitely, because now we have more authentic, real Native writers and directors that are in the room that are able to take control and really make the big decisions when it comes to telling our stories.
As an actor in a contemporary production like this, you draw a lot of attention. Of course, Native American people are proud to see this sort of thing happen. And non-Native people are still a bit puzzled, I think, from time to time. And it sort of leaves you, in a sense, carrying kind of a heavy load of responsibility as representing Native people. Now, what do you feel about your presence there and the role that you play like that?
I feel like I'm confident knowing that I know who I am and I know the community I come from, and I know that when I do jobs like this, I do my best to represent me and my family the best I can.
Now, where did you and your family come from?
I grew up in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, which is the Cherokee capital in Oklahoma, and I went to Sequoia High School, which is an Indian school. And I've been a part of Cherokee National Youth Choir, Cherokee Tribal Council. I've done the bike ride. I've been involved in many different ways.
And in that preparation, did you take any drama classes or anything that would lend more to a career like this?
Ever since I was little, I was about the age of 6 when I did my first production on film. I did an independent film called Standing Cloud that my Aunt Kimberly wrote and directed, so that was my first experience being in front of the camera. As I got older and was in high school, I did competitions, speech and debate competitions, and I won 5th in state in poetry. I also played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz my freshman year. My junior year, I played Rizzo in Grease, and then when I graduated, I went to Oklahoma City and took acting classes as an acting major there.
Wow, that's quite an impressive resume. Has the industry kept up with you, so to speak? I mean, did you go after the part? Did they come to you? How did that work out?
Strangely enough, I've had enough people who are my friends who know about me and they work in the industry, and when they hear jobs that they think I would be fit for, they throw me a bone and they help me out, and the parts have just been able to walk through my door and come to me. I haven't had to go chase anything.
Now, you mentioned your Aunt Kimberly, and I understand that she had quite a history there in entertainment also.
Yes, so my Aunt Kimberly, Norris Guerrero, is my mom's sister, and growing up, she was the first actress in the family. She actually made a debut on Seinfeld in the Cigar Store Indian episode, and I just remember growing up and seeing her as an inspiration to me, and she really just inspired me to get into this too.
Yeah, I remember a lot of Indian guys falling in love when they saw that. How does this career affected you? I mean, you've had to make changes, adjust your social activities, things like that?
So being an actor, it's hard to stay consistent if you aren't on your game at all times. You know, it's things start and end. But thankfully, I've been able to also become licensed full-time as a tattoo artist, and I make my own schedule. So when I'm not tattooing and I get an acting part, I leave, I do the acting part, and I'm able to come back and continue working.
Now, when you make these tattoos happen, are they more traditional native designs or uses, or are they more for, let's say, entertainment purposes?
I would probably say a little mix of both. It just depends on the person and their story and how unique the design is and how it fits to them.
Okay, let me ask you about making it in this business. Now, how long have you been at it now?
I've been acting since I was 6. I'm 26 now.
And you've come through a lot of successes. Things happened for you. If someone was interested in pursuing a career like this, what do they need and what should they be doing to prepare?
Definitely exercise and health comes first. You know, if you don't look good in person, there's a probable chance that you might not look good on camera, and that's one thing that matters, is being healthy, first of all. Second of all, building self-confidence and being comfortable speaking in front of people. If there's any chance you have a time to tell a story somewhere or act, do it. Acting is just playing. I've never stopped playing.
The world has been changing tremendously in the last couple of decades, and women have come to play a more important role in leadership. They are speaking up about how they had historically been treated. I'm thinking of Weinstein and those people. Have you had to deal with any of that kind of thing?
Unfortunately, in this industry, there is a lot of that happens behind closed doors. But thankfully, I know who I am, and I'm grounded in who I am, and I know that I'm protected. So whenever those situations happen, I make sure that I remove myself.
Well, I just was watching the movie Bombshell last night, and it just kind of occurred to me. Native women are just famously beautiful. And I was just kind of wondering if you were being singled out sometime because of it.
There has been some situations that I was really uncomfortable when I was working with somebody who were saying comments that shouldn't have been said or things like that. But when that happens, I know who to talk to and how to get that shut down immediately.
What about something like, was it Adam Sandler, Ridiculous Six? There was a controversy about how the Apache people and culture were being treated and as, well, insulted is a better word. Now, have you run across that, or what do you feel about that sort of thing?
When it comes to that thing, my rule of thumb is that if people won't listen unless they want to listen. And so you can exhaust yourself trying to teach somebody that things should be a certain way, but mainly you should just save your energy and leave the situation. And that's what they did. They walked off set.
Okay, now, I'll wrap this up and get out of your way here. But What's on your schedule next? What are you pursuing, or do you have any new projects in the works?
Well, I signed some paperwork, so I can't talk about the next big thing I'm in. But it's going to be good, and when you see it, you'll know.
Any idea when that might come out?
Probably not this December, probably next December.
There's a final word you wanted to leave with our listeners about yourself, your career, this movie. What would it be?
Anybody who's watching the movie, anybody who's been a part of the movie and been in the movie, you matter, and we appreciate you, and just keep living life to the fullest.
Okay, Meadow.
Hishje, Liz Gray, Chahochif Kudos, and I am here at Circle Cinema in Tulsa for the screening of Reservation Dogs, an indigenous production filmed here at the Mvskoke Reservation.
All right. Can you guys identify yourself real quick for me?
I'm Lil Mike. I'm Funny Bone. Together we are Mike Bone.
Yes, we've seen you in different TV shows.
We make small appearances here and there.
What are you bringing here to this particular Reservation Dog?
I think we're the little comedic relief. Like, I don't know, everybody that's been responding to us says we kind of broke that laughter mode, I guess is what you call it. I don't know, what would you say?
I don't know. They said they have a short part. I didn't know it was gonna be a short part.
Also, we bring some good music, quality content, no nonsense, because they're using our music as well. So it's all original, it's all clean, good stuff. So we're bringing that to the table as well.
Okay, finally, doing something like this kind of throws you in a position where you carry some responsibility for other Native American people who might be interested or watching or non-Native. What do you think about having to carry that burden?
We've always kind of carried that burden.
Being positive rappers, not only just positive rappers, but we actually live the positive lifestyle that we rap about. So we've been doing this for 25 years, so it's just like, it's already in hand.
And we have each other as accountability partners, so he can look out for me, I can look out for him. I got drunk one time, and that was an accident, and that was in Vegas. On the ride. She slipped something in my drink.
Cosby'd him.
I told her I don't drink, the bartender, and she did something. But thank God he was there. I didn't get nobody pregnant, and
We didn't get no random tattoos.
no random tattoos, nothing like that.
But you got roofied.
It was something. I don't know. I came back to the table. I said, "She made the lemonade better this time." And
I smelled it. It didn't smell like alcohol.
yeah.
What are you guys going to be doing in the future?
Hopefully a lot more seasons of this, and then maybe even bigger movies. That would be awesome.
Pretty much we're gonna get back to touring before we start filming again. So
We have some new music. We got a police brutality song that we just wrote, and so we're coming out with more stuff.
Okay, Mado.
Mado.
Great opportunity, and we're totally supportive this year's sport. Again, can you spell your first one again?
Tracy Rivas, TracyRevis.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mvskoke Media.
Yeah, Hishje.
Mvskoke Media.
Yeah. Want to get Gary. So, exciting. So tell us a little bit about just all this whole experience and what this means for Mvskoke Nation.
So we started working a few months ago with the crew to do the location scouting, and it was made clear that they were really excited and really interested in making sure that we kept the filming local. They wanted to keep it within the reservation and make sure that we were depicting and giving back to our communities. So there's a lot of economic impacts that are coming from this. The other incredible thing has been that they really wanted to use a lot of native vendors, native artists, anything that they could. They wanted to show respect to our local community, and so it was an incredible opportunity. So we got to visit a lot with the scouting crew, to go around. There were some scenes that are going to be shot from inside the nation on our property, others inside of Altmogi. In addition to that, they made sure they worked with the city of Altmogi, so just to really make sure that we're showing a lot of different locations of our local communities And so we sat down, we worked through all of that, and then there's going to be some amazing things that are going to come from this. Any of the location scouting fees that we receive from using our properties, we've actually taken those funds and we're actually creating a scholarship in Sterling's name that will go back to any Native Creek student that wants to go into cinematography, video, anything in the industry. We really want to support what he's done and really kind of inspire what he's inspiring in our Native youth. We want to really make sure that we are putting, you know, the support behind that and making sure that we're investing in that. So.
Right, yeah, because that was going to be my next question, is that, like, what is the message that you're sending to youth whenever you put so much into a scholarship? You know, for us at Mvskoke Media, we're about Indigenous storytelling, and, you know, I just kind of wanted to know what your, you know, take on that was.
The big thing with this was really, so Sterling, I know, got told no a lot at the beginning, and he's made some great films, and we've seen a lot of his work and followed his career, but he still got told no a lot and didn't get the backers. And when this got picked up, you know, it's an opportunity that FX really put their investment into his work, and so it wouldn't be right for us to not support our own, but also we're proud of our own. He's telling our stories, and he's telling it with his authenticity, right? So he'll tell you, and he said this last night, that there may be things that people it may be hard for them to see, but it's true of who we are, right? And so it's an opportunity for us to tell our stories our way and the things that are important. And so we truly believe in that. And under Chief Hill's leadership, that was something that, you know, he said, let's go ahead and do it. We talked to Sterling about it, and he was on board with it. So we really want to make sure. On top of that, if I can acknowledge it, sure. FX is going to support and pledge. They pledged $10,000 to the scholarship as well. So we're going to make sure that it is a stable scholarship and that we are doing more, because we want to see more students doing what Sterling has done. And, you know, with what's going on, you know, in other areas, other major films that are happening in the area, this is a series, and when series comes, they're not just a one and done. They have the opportunity to keep going and keep going. And so just the economic impact, the artistry, everything that goes into it, it's just an incredible opportunity for the nation right now.
Now, this production continues a trend we've been seeing over the last decade or so of more movies and TV shows that are more authentic. That not only authentic, but actually tell the real story behind many of our cultures and peoples. How do you all judge this particular Reservation Dogs in continuing that trek?
Well, I first have to acknowledge FX has actually done an incredible job of really expanding the scope of the shows that they're putting out there, so that it's a truer image. It's not just a glossed over version, you know, that people want to see. It is a true image by true artisans. And so that's really truly what I believe Res Dogs is. You know, we all say Res Dogs, right? We don't just say Reservation Dogs, we all say Res Dogs, because it's a true depiction of who we are. Having seen the first 2 episodes, I really do think it's a good depiction. It has our humor. You'll see some of the things specific to within our local community here that people around here will get, but on the greater masses will understand and appreciate the humor as well. So it's not a glossed over Hollywood Indian. It is a real life, like, these are the struggles that we go through, and you're gonna see that. And then you're gonna see the humor, and you're gonna see some of the other things that come into it. You know, Indian comedy with 1491s was a big thing that everyone saw, and you're gonna see some of those characters that Indian country is going to resonate with, right? And they're gonna laugh when they see them. And so I'm so excited for all of Indian country to see this. I think they're gonna be truly proud of the work that Sterling has done, and FX has been so supportive of making sure that truly our voices are out there.
And I work for FX, and you know,
Could I get your name?
my name's John, John, last name Solberg, John Solberg, and I had communications for FX. But I can't begin to thank, you know, everybody in the Mvskoke Creek Nation for all their support, local support, the community support, Chief Hill, everybody on the executive council. You know, my boss couldn't be here, John Landgraf, he's the chairman of FX. But what she's saying about authenticity and what you're saying about authenticity, it all begins by empowering the people that you hired to do the show. And it starts with the showrunner and the creator of the show. The show was created by two indigenous people, Sterling Harjo and Taika Waititi, who's indigenous to his native New Zealand. But when you hire those people and empower them, they hire people that they know, and all the writers on this staff are native, all the directors on this show are native, the cast is native, the crew is native. I don't know how you can get more verisimilitude than that. I mean, it's just like, this is the story that he lived, this is his life, he's proud to tell it. And I can tell you this, we were all blown away by it. It's just so great. It's as good as anything we've done. I think, the early response that we've received from critics has been amazing because they've never seen a show like this. I mean, it's sad that here we are in 2021 that there's been such a failure in entertainment for telling these stories. But I think, again, success breeds success, and when people see this, they're going to want more. It's going to create greater opportunity for other kids who've never seen themselves represented on TV, or potential filmmakers who are the next Sterling Harjos of the world who say, Sterling tells an outstanding story about he didn't know how, when he was considering doing this, meaning way back when, he thought actors just showed up and made it up as they went. He didn't know anything about writers, directors, anything like that. And it's fascinating. So if you can educate more people, you're going to give more opportunity. And we're really grateful to what the nation is doing for us and the scholarship fund. We want to do everything we can to support it and support young Native filmmakers, and I think it's a great opportunity, but we couldn't be more proud of the show, and I guarantee when you see it, you'll feel the same way.
It sounds kind of like a bold step as compared to the older Hollywood kind of stuff. Was it hard for FX to make that decision for?
No, we had kind of a reckoning about, in 2016, there was a report that came out in Variety, which is a local Hollywood trade, that did an examination of. They took episodic directors and did basically a breakdown by ethnicity, and the entire industry was bad. People of color representation was very bad. I think on average 85% of the people who directed episodes of television were white men, and our numbers were terrible. And my boss looked up and he said, "This is unacceptable. This can't be who we are. This can't be what we represent." And he made a significant commitment to changing the way we think, the way we give opportunities, the way we tell stories. And one of the things that is driving us is that we want to tell stories that represent the world and the community and everybody, the America that we live in. And I think he's a really good commitment to that. And, it's great to be a part of that organization because of it. But thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick comment. What are your thoughts on something like this happening here in the Creek Territory?
Just an awesome feeling, like I said before. We're here to support Sterling and to help with the scholarship what Creek Nation's done and what Jason and Tracy has done. I know Tracy's worked hard on it. Just working together. But Mogi's done. The mayor, Mogi's been helping her support. So this is what we're here to do. And it's just,
so much of her, and it's one of the roles that I'm most proud of.
It's going to outdo smoke signals, I like to say.
Hey. And also, how about that art department? Was here.
I know. Well, that's what I was like. I had Sierra up in the thing last night. I was like, Sierra, come on, you're on everything. So you got to come up.
Tracy
Rivas.
Okay.
Yes.
Make sure I have the right name.
Okay. Hi.
Chat with us real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, what's your name and what part are you playing in this production?
Wagia Tejan Young Eagle Magebi, and my name is Paulina Alexis, and I play Willie Jack.
Okay, now what's it like to be in a production like this? This is pretty big as far as Native films.
What was the question?
How do you feel when being part of something like this?
I feel amazing, and it's just a crazy feeling to be here. To know that we're out here now telling these stories finally, and to be.
finally, the chance to tell a really authentic story in a humorous vein doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, right?
It really makes you feel good.
Yeah, it does make me feel really good. Like, you don't see a lot of Native people on TV growing up. So, like, now that we have a show that we can call ours.
So how does that feel to be like the face of that? Like this is really like groundbreaking, really, you know.
Crazy. It feels amazing. And like I said, the stories we tell in it is just like, y'all gonna cry, get your tissues ready. But yeah, I can't wait to show the world.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mado. Oh look, we go. Hi. Debris. All right, awesome. Hi, Mvskoke Media here. We're of course. What I like, Gary.
Go ahead.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about how this feels for you as far as like, I mean, the whole Reservation Dogs experience so far.
What a question. The whole Reservation Dogs experience has been overwhelmingly empowering and positive and really emotional for me. I have never been a part of a project like this before, and this is one of the roles and projects that I'm most proud of in my career. And the fact that we get to be here tonight in Tulsa, having a community premiere, celebrating the part of the world that we're championing through Reservation Dogs is just so meaningful, and I'm really grateful to have been welcomed into the community by the Mvskoke Creek Nation and the Seminole Nation and basically this part of Turtle Island.
So whenever we're talking about that, do you think that whenever you come here into this community and you're almost representing somewhere that you've never experienced, how do you take that and try to like almost apply that in like an overall, like, so everyone in the indigenous community can understand?
I mean, I think that we really had to lean on Sterling and his experience growing up in Holdenville to understand what it was like to grow up here. I'm Mohawk. I come from Kahnawake Mohawk territory up in Canada, which is a very different place than Oklahoma. But there's still universalities that connect us, and in watching Sterling's work and watching Taika's past work, seeing these kids from these communities, I'm like, oh my God, that could be my family, that could be my cousin, that could be my sister, except they have a Southern accent or they have a Kiwi accent. And so it was, but I think it was very much finding the specificity from this place that will inevitably make it universal for Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people alike. I had done, with Sterling's encouragement, I had done a lot of research into the history of Oklahoma and the Mvskoke Creek Nation and how your nation were survivors of the Trail of Tears, and that would mean that my character was a descendant of the survivors of the Trail of Tears, and that feeds into performance, and that feeds into the situation of the collective of Reservation Dogs as a group, and I think it was important to make sure we did our research and to learn the cadences of this region to make sure that we're doing y'all justice.
So did you have to learn to translate into Oklahoma?
To translate? I mean, I learned a few words like Mado, I learned Inca, and I learned Bocos.
Yes, thank you so much, and I love your mocks. Those are great.
My best friend made them for me.
Oh, nice. That's great.
I love your earrings.
Thank you. I made them myself.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, well, have a good
All right, thanks.
How do you get to your hair?
Well, you know, I got a ton of police projects.
So good.
Acting projects, so it was a process of
Here we go, Gary.
Yeah.
Mr. DeFaro,
Hi.
It's Gary Fife.
Whenever
Liz Gray.
That's great. Good to meet you guys.
Yeah, we work with the Tribal Media Department, Mvskoke Media.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's so cool. All right, cool. This is awesome.
Let me back up just a touch and give me your name and the part that you play in this production.
Yes, my name is DeFaro Wanatau. I'm from Toronto, Ontario. My family chill on the reservation. Chene Mekusuwip, also known as Big Truck Lake. I play Bear Small Hill. And Reservation Dogs.
Coming up here in Oklahoma.
Now, what's it like? How do you feel in working in a contemporary movie about our people instead of the usual beat production?
After about 12, 13 years old, so I know how it is.
Being given the opportunity to work with Sterling, once in a lifetime type of thing, and the fact that Sterling has this, the fact that Sterling feels so much for this project, and being able to work on that with him and create this, out of as he said 1,000 times, it just came out of an idea in the backyard with two guys or two friends just sitting there, and now here we are on this green carpet. So it's cool. It's very cool.
So it was a conversation.
I'm honored. I guess is the best word.
Well, part of that honor, I guess, has to go with the responsibility of portraying this image out to our own people and in the non-native world out there too. What do you feel about carrying a big responsibility?
It's not really that big because almost every single word you hear me say on there is done by the writers. So that's they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? They know what image they wanted to put up there, and and what they feel is right for indigenous communities. So as or in representation. So I'm laid back, knowing that I'm taking care of with these writers who are amazing and know what they're doing. And all indigenous. So there we go. If that answers your question. Does that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Mado, thank you.
Yeah, Mado.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You did it twice. I didn't do it earlier. Good to meet you. What's your name? What's your name? Clinton. Good to meet you guys. I forgot your guys' names earlier. But my apologies.
I wish.
I miss the energy of youth.
Yeah. I used to be like that.
Yeah, I know. I used to be really sprightly and not really. I used to be like.
But being able to find. Thank you, man. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Mvskoke!
Yeah, Stone Go.
How's it going? Aha. Jinda.
Trying to get you on our show.
Cool. I'll do it.
Okay, well, let's get rolling here now. We're speaking with Sterling Harjo.
I like that Marantz recorder. I used to have one of those.
Yeah, it's pretty dependable for the most part. Now, what's it like now that all of your effort and your work has now come out in this production, Res Dogs?
I mean, it's kind of the most exciting part. It took a lot of work to make, but now it's a little bit of a relief to be able to put it out and see the reaction people have. I just wanted to tell stories from home about our people, and it's exciting to be able to be like the biggest TV show to ever do that. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So.
Well, that's seemingly part of a trend we've seen in the last decade or two. More productions coming out with more authentic stories about people using native actors.
Yeah.
Where do you think you fit in that trend?
I feel like we've just blown them all out of the water. It might have been a trend, but it wasn't good enough. We get every few years there's a native movie with a native lead who is like third on the call sheet and being overshadowed by the two non-native leads. So that to me that's not good enough. And I think that giving native people the opportunity to create their own stories is the key to change it. And I think that, this show, Rutherford Falls, is the beginning of a bigger change.
As the production moves on, what kind of impact do you think you'd like to leave with people who don't know anything about it?
Just to show that we're human and that we're funny. I think that not enough people realize that we're funny and what native humor is. And I think that it's 2021. It's about time. It feels like climate change is coming and there's a lot of bad stuff. And it'd be great to get some native humor out there at some point before it's all over.
What's it like working with Taika Waititi? I mean, everything he does just turns to gold.
Yeah, I mean, I don't ever see him. He's too busy. I saw him when we sold the show, and I haven't seen him since. If anybody knows where Tyke is, tell him I'm looking for him. No, he's my friend, but I don't see him. He's busy. He's making Thor and Star Wars.
As the production rolls on, what kind of plans? Is it going to make like a nationwide tour? Obviously, it's going to be on television, right?
Yeah. I hope it doesn't do a nationwide tour because I don't want to tour. I don't want to go on the road. They're going to see it on TV. Hopefully that's good enough.
No
Find me on Instagram.
RV for you. Yeah. No life in an RV for you.
No, thank you. No.
What's it feel like then telling this particular story of our people, Mvskoke, others, teaching this crew?
Oh.
Yeah.
What's it like, teaching them about our culture and making this production work?
I mean, I think that they've all just been blown away with how beautiful our culture is and how welcoming our people are, which has been really good, I think. So, it's been great.
Yeah, just kind of what you were talking about earlier about like humor, whenever you were kind of introducing this type of humor to a non-native audience, what was your approach to that? Because it is a very specific type of humor.
I think you have to give, I learned through the 1491s, you have to give white people permission to laugh because they're really afraid to laugh because they're very trained to watch sad documentaries about Native people. So you have to give them permission to laugh, let them in on the joke. And there's lots of ways that you can do that in writing and storytelling. And I think we did it with this show.
We had a wonderful time chatting with the cast and the producer of such a wonderful series. We'll take a short break right now and then a little bit more about vaccines.
Who am I? Am I native? I don't want people assuming things because I'm Indian. I just want to be me. But how do I live in two worlds? Some guys just check out by doing meth. But that ain't for me. Because I see my family, my friends, my drum making, my future. There are a lot of cool things about being who I am. And meth isn't one of them.
Learn more at ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
There's been a lot of talk about the vaccines and the rate that's been striking Native Americans and smaller communities. And I know that we're all tired of hearing it, but my gosh, it affects our health like this, more information possible. So, I'll tell people right up front, I've had both shots, and my wife and I have been boosted, and we're hoping to do our best. Well, it's affecting a lot of people. But here's a little experience I had in dealing with the vaccines. Today we're here to check out the procedures for the COVID-19 vaccination. We're at the Coweta facility here, and I will actually be getting my shot today. And we'll check with staff to find out what their challenge is and how they're meeting it and serving citizens.
So I'm Sid Daniel. I'm the health administrator here for the Coweta Indian Health Facility. And currently we're working on getting vaccinations for our population group here that's registered and active patients at our facility. Currently we've done about 1,000 vaccines to date since we started at mid-December-ish. And so that's our goal.
All right, now, is your system any different from, like, say, a federal facility? This is a federal facility, but a tribal unit like this, has it any differences at all?
So no differences that I'm aware of. Obviously, they have their rules, and we kind of go by the tribal guidelines. I don't know there specifically if you called up, say, Claremore Indian Hospital, what their guidelines are as far as tiers or phases or where they're at on their vaccinations. But so we use our guidelines from Mvskoke Creek Nation Department of Health leadership.
Okay. And when you're accepting applications for the vaccine, what sort of requirements are involved?
So we're basing our vaccines right now on phases or tiers. And so the initial phase was all of Mvskoke Creek Nation Department of Health healthcare workers. And then after we got that completed successfully, we kind of branched out to those age 65 and older, or underlying healthcare conditions if they were under 65. And then we'll hopefully eventually move out to other tiers such as school teachers and school workers, just general population that don't necessarily fall under that first phase. So currently we are still on that phase 1 kind of B or C tier. We're still trying to get all of our 65 and over elder patients in. We're still trying to reach all of those underlying healthcare condition patients. So that's really what we're focused on. We're actually pretty close to that for just this facility. The other facilities are working their lists as well. And so we're trying to reach out to our patients proactively and say, you fall into this category, are you interested in the vaccine? And if they are, they come in, they get scheduled and get a shot.
When you accept a patient, an applicant for the vaccine, is there anything particular process they have to go through or information supply?
Sure. So currently, if they call us and they say they would like a vaccine, we're putting them on a list. And we are still working on the list that's developed by our information technology group that has filtered those lists of active patients. So we're putting them on those that call in. We're putting them on a list, and then once we get past our first 2 phases, we'll reach out to them and get them vaccinated, depending on whether they qualify for age or underlying healthcare condition or those kinds of things. If we know they're our patient, we look them up if they've called us, and we know they're in one of those categories, we automatically put them into a schedule. If they're a non-registered patient and they've called interested in the vaccine, then at some point in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're hopeful to get to them and get them on board, and they'll register with our registration department, and we'll get them in and get them a vaccine.
Okay, now you mentioned 1,000 doses already. Is it something that's popular, word of mouth kind of thing? What do you hear from people who are coming forward?
Right. So it's been a little bit of a struggle too when we've reached out on our list to get the patients to accept the vaccine. We're running about a 40 or a 50% acceptance rate. And so about 1 out of every 2 calls that we make, they'll want the vaccine. And so but it has helped word of mouth for those that have received the vaccine that they haven't had any issues at all with side effects. So that really has helped us with that cause. We're getting a lot.
Okay, well, we hope that word of mouth is working with you. Here's my 2 cents worth. So far, I've been doing pretty good. I'm glad that's happening. So, thank you for joining us here today on this crazy edition of Mvskoke Radio. Mado Mabu Edgets. You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Mado.